updates regarding India's ambitious third moon mission. After a historic and successful launch of the Chandrayaan-3, Indian Space Research Organization has confirmed that the spacecraft's health is normal. ISRO scientists have completed the first earthbound maneuver to increase the altitude and take Chandrayaan-3 further away from Earth in its 3.8 lakh kilometer long journey. If all goes according to ISRO's predictions, the landing is expected on 23rd August. So, of course, updates regarding our third moon mission right there, viewers. The health of the Chandrayaan-3 is absolutely perfect till now. Joining us on the broadcast this morning is Group Captain V.N. Jha, former Joint Director of DRDO. A very good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us on NewsX. This is, of course, wonderful news that we're getting early in the morning regarding India's third moon mission, hoping that, in fact, we reach the moon and land in a very precise manner. Meanwhile, could you explain to our viewers the fact that there are certain images circulating on media showing that there will be a multiple elliptical orbits that the Chandrayaan-3 will take around the Earth before slingshotting to the moon. Could you explain to our viewers why we are doing that and how we are utilizing the Earth's gravity in propelling the spacecraft towards the moon?
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll just try to explain to all your viewers. I had written an article yesterday that is that everyone was asking that when at such a high speed the rocket has taken the Chandrayaan into Earth's orbit, why should it take 40 days or 45 days? What has happened is on day 4 yesterday, rocket has put the Chandrayaan into the parking orbit. Parking orbit is somewhere where you stabilize all the parameters. You have put the rocket. It is right now going into the slightly elliptical orbit. And what happens when it starts coming towards the Earth? Earth's gravity pulls it. And while pulling it, it augments the velocity of the rocket or the Chandrayaan. And while making that slingshot, every time that it passes through, the velocity augments. But what Chandrayaan Controlling Center at Bangalore or elsewhere will be doing is, while it is passing through that slingshot, there will be 5 or 6 occasions when the perigee motor, that is when the Chandrayaan is absolutely close to the Earth, passing through. At that time, at the perigee, this is called perigee. At the perigee, the motor will be firing, giving more speed, so that the Earth's orbit is raised further. When day first day it was injected into the orbit, it was about perigee was about 170 kilometer closest, and apogee, the furthest point, was about 36,500. What we expect is, every time that this orbit raising maneuver is done, like yesterday it was done, so every time it will raise the orbit by, say, about 15 to 20,000 kilometers. Today, as we understand, that the apogee has gone up to 41,000 kilometers from 36,000 kilometers what it was there when it was injected. It is slightly less. We were expecting it to be about 45,000 kilometers, but it is all in ISRO's hand. It could be 5 maneuvers or it could be 6 maneuvers, that is the orbit raising. Finally, see, moon is almost, say, about 3.8 kilometers, somewhere here. And if it has to go there, this orbit has to be raised to about 4 lakh kilometers. So gradually, every time that the sling passes, mostly it is gaining some altitude, but when the orbit raising maneuver is done, that time at the perigee, at the closest of the Earth, the engine is switched on, more speed is being given, and the course is to raise the height every time, every maneuver. So that is how it would be continuing, and it is not done every day or every time. It will be done every 2 days or 3 days, because once you raise the maneuver, then again you try to analyze all the parameters. It should not deviate from the course. It should not deviate in the angle. It should not deviate in the trajectory. So all these things are monitored and corrected. So this orbit raising maneuver will be done every 2 days or 3 days till the time Chandrayaan is at about say 1.4 lakh kilometer orbit apogee or so. Then on the last time, it will be the putting the Chandrayaan onto the lunar trajectory. That lunar trajectory will be of 4 lakh kilometer apogee. So that time the engine will be burned for maybe about 100 seconds, 130 seconds, and in that Chandrayaan will be taking to the close to the moon. But it is not at the same velocity. Velocity will be somewhere around 11.3, 11.4 kilometers per second. You should remember that we all know that Earth has got a gravity. To escape from here, you need the escape velocity, and that is about 11.2. So 11.2 kilometers per second. So this object, Chandrayaan 3, will have to be given a velocity more than 11.2 kilometers so that it escapes the Earth's gravity. But while escaping, as it goes further and further, velocity keeps on dropping. And when it will come near to the, say, if this is the moon, when it comes near the moon's influence area, velocity will be very, very less. It will wash out to about, say, about 0.5 to 1 kilometer per second. And that is the time when the moon, while it is coming closer to the Earth's orbit, it is moving. So all these are matched gradually so that when Chandrayaan reaches there, moon comes somewhere here and it enters the influence area when the Chandrayaan will be grabbed. I mean, ISRO will have to maneuver Chandrayaan at that time to insert into the lunar gravity. We call it translunar insertion, TLI. So that will happen after many days. So today, yesterday, only the first stage happened. First orbit raising maneuver has happened. There will be second, third, fourth, fifth, or there could be even sixth before the translunar trajectory is being given. So these are the normal maneuvers that will be taking, and it will take time. See, before Chandrayaan is put towards the course of moon, it will be about 8 to 10 days or maybe 12 days in the Earth's orbit still. And then only Chandrayaan will be put there. Of course, as I mentioned to you, Chandrayaan moon is about 3.8 lakh kilometers, 3.84 lakh kilometers, and it will take about 6 days for the Chandrayaan to move at that velocity when it is put to the lunar trajectory. So actually, travel is only for 7 days or maybe even 6 days if the velocity is slightly more. And then there again, once it enters the moon's gravity, again there are many maneuvers. At that time, the orbit around the moon will be very, very elliptical and high altitude. That will be gradually lowered to about 100 into 100 kilometers of the orbit in the moon, in the polar axis. So all these takes time, and all these will be fully stabilized before any attempt of landing is made. That is why all these times are being taken.
Indeed, Group Captain Shah, and to put your explanation into perspective, I would request my team upstairs to showcase what I have on screen. This diagram has in fact been released by ISRO itself in the tweet stating that the trajectory of the rocket at this point of time is absolutely fine and healthy. Over here you can of course see ISRO's Chandrayaan 3, and the red lines donate the injection orbit and the rocket using the Earth's gravity to propel itself towards the moon and of course increase its velocity to more than, as Group Captain Shah mentioned, 11.2 kilometers per second. Of course, you've also stated that it will take about 8 to 10 days for us to start our journey towards the moon. And then viewers, you can see this blue line also over here, showcasing that the rocket will also orbit around the moon for some time before the 100-kilometer circular lunar orbit. When it reaches that point, the propulsion module will then separate from the lander module which carries the rover, which will then attempt landing. Of course, ISRO scientists have now identified a patch of at about 69 degrees, as Group Captain Jha was mentioning earlier before the launch, to land the lander as well as the rover. Meanwhile, Group Captain Jha, I'd like to ask a follow-up. We were in fact having discussion the other day regarding ISRO's objectives and their aim. And we were talking about the in situ experiments that might be carried out. You in fact mentioned that who knows, we might in fact come out with discovering a new element. So how vital do you think India's success is, not just for us, but for also the entire world?
Every nation who have got the scientific might keep on gathering, in additional information in whatever sphere you can talk of. Right now, we are talking of ISRO, we are talking of Chandrayaan, we are going to the moon. Moon is a very, very dangerous place to live, in general sense, if I can mention, because there is no atmosphere and all the solar flares, galactic rays, these are the very highly charged particles, dangerous. It has got huge amount of the charge onto it, and like atomic burst, we have got alpha particles, beta particles, gamma rays. So such things of the solar flare and the galactic flare keep on coming onto the moon unhindered, because there is no atmosphere, there is no effective magnetic shield around the moon. So that is what all these things keep on continuing, coming to the moon's surface. Even the dust on the moon, what we call it regolith, even that is fairly charged, fairly atomized, fairly dangerous to touch or even walk onto that. It is fairly difficult. So it is a dangerous place, and on that dangerous place, we want to know what all is happening there, what all are there. First thing everyone knows, why the moon is so bright, why it keeps shining such a bright light. So obviously there is something different, there is something special in the Earth's moon's surface which reflects the sunlight towards us. And what all are there? They are the more of a glass-like surface. What is there? They are more of a magnesium. They are aluminium, and they are the rare metals as well. What has been happening in the moon? It is for the billions of years now there in the situ, and every time one comet comes, one asteroid comes, meteorites come, they strike the moon, and that is what you find. A lot of the gaddhas on the moon at various places, and most of these strike happen in and around the equator of the moon. The polar area is the one where least of the impacts have happened in the past. So when we go towards the polar area, like you mentioned that 69-degree south we are going. So there we are expecting it to be as original as the time of the formation, with the least amount of the impacts by the comets or other things. So when our Chandrayaan goes there, makes a soft landing, rover comes out, and it starts analyzing the soil there. That is the composition of the soil. We expect it to be as natural as the moon's original formation was there. That is one thing. And the secondly, I mentioned to you, when the rover makes the analysis of the elements, we may find some rare elements there. I mentioned to you that right now we have in our periodic table 118 elements. Who knows, there could be 119th element being detected there. And that is why, these are the prowess of every nation who goes and makes the scientific analysis. So we are just keeping our fingers crossed. Of course, there are right now many stages. Yesterday, when I had written the article into the magazine called The Counter Views, I have mentioned, some bit of concern areas as well. We know the heat shield of the Chandrayaan is out. Now Chandrayaan is open. We also know in universe, in the cosmos, there are small meteorites and other things, traveling at a phenomenal speed. I hope none of those things strike Chandrayaan. It goes unstruck with everything and goes and into the moon's surface. Second thing is that in the moon itself, there are mass combs. They are the smaller areas where the gravity is concentrated. Something, some comet or some other thing has come and hit, which has got a very high gravity into it, very high density into it. So they are the localized undulations of gravity in the lunar surface. We only hope that at this 69-degree south and 32-degree east where we are going to land, there are no mass counts. And even if the mass counts are there, this time ISRO has given enough of the thrust into the engine of the lander. It could be taken care of. So ISRO has done everything from our side. We pray God that no untowards event happen in the course of the Chandrayaan going to the moon, and we pray for that. And rest everything ISRO has done, it is on its task.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.